I talk with the 3-year-olds on my way to the Meadows. As I just said, I just finished doing the aged racehorse video. I'm going to do a very long video on the 2-year-olds, all the strengths and weaknesses of all the babies, where they lie, what we want to do with them. That's another video. We're going to talk to the 3-year-olds here. Arrowhead Hanover was very good the other day. I got crushed coming out of the last turn. Thought we were in a great spot, and I it didn't take long to re-watch the video and see where there was an error made. And at the time, I saw it, but I didn't believe it was an error. I didn't even think it was a big deal at the time, but allowing the 10 to get ahead of me going into the first turn cost me the win in that race, and I'll tell you why. Dexter never gets through the inside of my brother's on the front, sees me coming 3 wide. I would have harmed him, and that had happened. And I wouldn't have had to been stopped and started 3 deep, shoved 4 deep, and then run into coming out of the last turn. I firmly believe I'm headed to the winner's circle. It's just that one mistake that was made. And I didn't even think it was a mistake at the time. But allowing the 10 to get ahead of me going into the first turn, I don't like this rain, I can tell you that right now, put me in a position where I was third over behind a gapping horse instead of second over in a place I should have been to begin with. So it's not like me to be overly conservative. I just saw how the race was shaping up two steps out of the gate. Aaron had left, the inside horse left, the 2 outside horses blasted out of there. There was going to be a dust up in the first turn. As it turned out, that dust up turned into a dust storm coming in front of the grandstand. It felt to me that everything was working out in our favor. And then it all unraveled quite quickly in the last turn. So Arrowhead Hanover, take nothing away from him. The horse 4 wide around the last turn, trots in 54 and raced great again. Just going to be a very, very nice horse for us. I want to believe for a very long time, but definitely for the remainder of his 3-year-old season. I do not now. I'm 40 minutes from the Meadows, but this is like these are big raindrops. Aunt Lily racing in the Buckeye this week. I like the spot we're in. I don't love the draw that we got, but I love the spot we're in with her on Tuesday, I believe, Wednesday, Tuesday, one or the other. Her and all the other horses, they're in the right spot. They're all picked low odds. We're doing the right thing. We have them in where they can do. So now we just have to execute, and hopefully we can do that this week. Blue Ventura, take nothing away from the other day. There was nothing I could do either. I got away as well as I could. It wasn't a great spot. I ended up getting flushed early. First over with a horse that does not want to be first over. If you come first over into a flat horse, you're coming hard. That's different. That's not even really first over. That's just immediately attacking. I was in a first over position, and one that he was not all that pleased with. And we ended up 6th, but he raced pretty good. Captain Incredible was incredible. I've been waiting. You want to see them do what you think they can do, but you don't know that they can do that yet. And Captain Incredible was awesome the other day. The way he raced, the way he looked, his presence. Somebody said he's rough in the last turn. He got a little rolly coming out of the turn. Yeah, he scrubs on his knees. I know that. You know that. He into his outside knee in the straightaways, into his inside knee in the turns. That's going to be something we're going to have to manage, and he's going to have to deal with throughout maybe the rest of his career, but most definitely the rest of 2025. And make no mistake, as I say that, you might say, oh no, listen, I've driven some very fast horses that will get to their knees. I remember, this never happens, but I remember a horse, I can't think of his name, but by the time you see this, I'll know his name. He used to wear steel plates in his knee boots, and this was horse pace 48, 49. If I'm not mistaken, Mark Harder trained him. Man, he was a good horse. And I've driven lots of horses that get into the knees. He doesn't wallop them, right? That first coming out of the last turn, if you watch the replay, slow it down, you'll see what I'm talking about. Comes out of the turn, squares himself up, and then you'll see that left foot kind of bounce. You can see it bounce right off his knee. But he just kind of scrubs on them after that. There's no swelling or tenderness or bruising in his knees. That's what knee boots are for. I don't feel that he needs to go straight. I think we have him shod the way he needs to be shod. And he is an incredibly fast machine. If we can manage him, keep him sound, keep him happy, I think we can have a very, very good horse on our hands. Very, very good horse. Well, he's 3 seconds from being a top 2-year-old. Now he won a maiden. Don't get too excited, I'm aware. He won a maiden. 52-1. last half in 55, last quarter in 27-4, with Dave Malone's hands right up in the buckles and the earplugs in his ears on his 5th lifetime start. Now, you can take away negatively and positively things from what I just said. But if you put them all together, and then you just sprinkle his breeding on top, that's a scary animal. He's a good horse. Chicago Hall, 10 hole tonight. I will predict Jody leaves hard with him, crosses over going into the first turn, lets one go, another one removes to the front, at least one, and we're sitting 3rd, 4th, or 5th on the inside total going into the last turn. Do we scab a check? I don't know. I don't know if he can lead from post 10 and beat those horses. I don't know if he can get a perfect trip and beat those horses fair and square. But he's going to have to work for it tonight, and I can't really say what's going to happen. But I'm eager to find out. Foxy Seaside is in with the rail. I don't know if I love the rail with Foxy. First time racing hard on a half-mile track. She might have raced there once last year, I'm not sure. But I'm not a fan of that particular scenario. But we'll see. That's the hand we're going to play, and I'd rather it much more than 7 or 8 or even 6 on a half-mile track. So no real complaints here. We're just going to have to deal with it. Freedom Hill, great spot this week. She's 9-5, I think it should be. She's been racing great her last few. Gaslight Hall, he's like 6 or 7-1, but he's up against Naumers and 3 Companies, tough, salty kind of crew. But you know what? I think he's going to be a nice gold horse for us. Him and Chicago Hall, and I think we're having a lot of fun with both of them all summer long. Gorgeous Package, trained very, very good the other day, and I expect her to be very, very good tomorrow night. Grand Slam Dio, raced great, continues every week just to get a little bit better. What I like to do is have her go out, bounce out, and take a mark of 55, 56, get that out of the way right away, and then race her the rest of the summer. We raced Horn Players, a 3-year-old, and sold her for quite a bit of money at the end of her 3-year-old season. I think this is a faster filly. I think she's got a cleaner gait, and I think she's bred better. So there's a lot going on. Now, you can't compare 3 years ago to what's coming in this fall or whatever, but when you look at what she is, she's got that propulsion, that Muscle Hill line, as did Horn Players. She was a tactical landing, I believe. She's got that Muscle Hill line, big, beautiful filly, great bloodlines. I think we have a lot of upside with her. Now, it's not lost on me that the one thing we don't have just yet is a true stake filly, which we wanted. No, I'm aware that's not there yet, but when I see 58, 57, 57, 56 closing on the end of it, I think we got a filly. We got a good trotting filly, and I don't think anybody can say how good she is yet. So, still lots and lots of room for advancement when it comes to Grand Slam Deal. Gymboree, we fixed that entrapment. She's also eligible last week. She'll likely be in this week, I would imagine, to race. Manhattan Money raced the best mile of his life yesterday. 3rd, trotted 55 in a piece, 4-3, something like that. Raced very, very good. Melisandre bled her last start. We put her on Lasix, and I expect her to be the final piece she needs to start becoming a really good filly. Now, obviously, there's another side to that coin, which is the difficulty with Lasix in Kentucky. Can she go without it? Does she need to go to Kentucky? Is it something we're worried about? I don't know. For a trotting filly to get around a half-mile track, if she has speed, there's lots of opportunities for her in North America. We just have to manage them and look at the entire playing field rather than just focused on a couple little things. Memento Mori, I talked ad nauseum about him in his race, after his race with you guys, and then again the next day. I think we're going to let Vernon Downs play out, and then we'll decide what we have to do moving forward from there. I think Mrs. Flanders and her husband did a great job. Somebody said, well, they only trained at 0.88. When you only have a few little horses, 4 or 5 horses, and you have a hobby farm, it really doesn't matter, does it? We sent them a quality horse. It didn't work out, but they're going to get another chance to race him in Vernon Downs. And quite frankly, aside from just the racing at this point of the season, my biggest concern is keeping the weight on Maury, keeping him happy, keeping him from getting tired and burned out towards the end of the season. I think we're going to have a lot of fun with Maury. We just have to use our heads and use him appropriately. Never Lose Felix. I was just starting to say nice things about him, and then he makes a break. I can see him get rough going into the gate. I can't really put my finger on why. He's a trotter, so I'm going to say feet, knees first, and then we'll have a look at everything else after. He shouldn't have made a break, but he did, and we'll deal with it. Listen, he can only win that class once anyway. Whether he wins it next week or the week before, 2 weeks ago, he can only win it once. So I suspect, especially after the trip he went the other day, that he's not far from the winner's circle very, very soon. Oh, he'll know is in. Is she going to be tight enough? I don't know. But she's in a good spot. She's picked to win. So I'm excited to see her race also. To race her. Resolve Indeed definitely in the right spot tonight. He's at Flamborough. She's at Flamborough now. It's picked to win. That's what I like to see. Roser and AJ and Alexander are both in to go, I believe, this week. AJ looked a bit cowardly the other day. There wasn't enough found in his blood for me to say, oh, well, it was this or oh, it was that. There wasn't enough found, but we need to race him accordingly, much like we've done and attempted to do with Blue Ventura. A little bit different situation. I think Blue Ventura is a stronger, bigger colt, so it's easier maybe to put him in a spot he's comfy, he's happy, whereas AJ's a bit hotter, so when you start him up leaving, you start it up, right? So it's a little more difficult, but you just need to endeavor to put him in the right spot. And Roser and Alexander, I think you're going to see her get better and better and better every week. What does the final product look like with her over the next 3-4 weeks? I'm not sure, but we're all going to find out together. Speed of Sound, a little bit of a temperature we scratched her the other day. That lag we got her back to Ohio, the one that she had just minorly injured, still carries a little bit of heat. So I want to talk to Latessa to have a look at that and see what's happening with her as we move forward. Last thing we want to do is try to start a filly up that needs a little bit more time. She's had what I would consider more than enough time, but injuries don't really care what you think about them. They just are what they are. And if it was enough time or it wasn't, we'll find out very, very soon. Okay, where are we at here? Speed of Sound. Woodmere Betcha. I'm almost to the end. Woodmere Betcha. Pretty hard not to get excited about this filly. Obviously, when you're out of sight, kind of out of mind when it comes to me. We're talking about all the ones that I see, the ones in Ontario. We got to forget. We got to remember. We still have those two horses in Prince Edward Island, right? Woodmere Betcha just crushed everybody in 55 over Truro. That's a hell of a mile for a 3-year-old pacing filly. I think that would have to put her somewhere close to the top of her class in Eastern Canada. And Woodmere Bullet, Smitty told me he was going to train him at 210, 212 today in the race bike, so I'm eager to hear reports back from him also. But Woodmere Betcha for sure, very, very nice filly and showing how good she actually is. Certainly this week with a win in the Turner Memorial in 155 in Inwood. So those are your 3-year-olds. I'm going to come back. I'm going to talk with the 2-year-olds. I want to talk to Amy and see if she can make it back for tomorrow. If she can't, then I'll just do the opening without her this week. I'd rather not, but I will if I have to. But what I am definitely going to do today is have a long discussion with you about our 2-year-olds. So 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds are done right now. I'm going to be back in just a minute with our 2-year-olds. Take care.